Hello and welcome to Katy and Daniel's podcast episode. Today I'd like to open up with a small little quote.
This is a mistake.
No, it wasn't. From Philippians 4:20, my favorite Bible verse. You know that's right, laughing emoji, crying emoji. Let's get that work, clapping emoji. In and get swole, bicep emoji. Boys, eggplant emoji. All included, grind never stops. Praying emoji, no cell phone emoji, 100 emoji. Let's do it, demon emoji. That is my favorite quote. I like to wake up early in the morning. It's all part of, daily lifestyle kind of thing. And
Amen.
then just amen to that.
Hi, my name is Katy Someillan, and welcome back to Young and Terrified on this 17th ever episode of the podcast. Oh boy, the podcast is the same number as my age.
God bless. That's how you know this is the one.
God bless.
Not only that, we are recording on the 17th as well.
We are?
We really are. The 17th on the 7th month.
Well, anyway.
So this one's got to be special.
Anyway, as you may already know, today my guest is Daniel. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Katy. Thank you very much for having me here. This is a long time coming. Wasn't too sure as to how to approach it, but I guess if there's a will, there's a way, and I'm more than positive the conversation will be nothing less but interesting.
Nothing less but interesting.
I don't know what I'm saying.
That's a very strange way to word that sentence, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It will be interesting nonetheless. But anyway, yes.
How have your past 24 hours been?
My past 24 hours have been pretty great, I've been doing my own kind of thing, organizing my life in a sense, like, whether it just be my room or like what I'm going to do in the future because, God knows we've been given some summer assignments and we got to get those done at some point.
I have done none. I have done zero.
I have done half of my math and I have touched my books, but I haven't read them.
I bought them. That's it. That's all that's been done.
That's a step above, not going to lie.
Did you steal them? What happened?
No, I didn't steal them. I just kind of touched my friend's books because I was like, oh, this is what the book looks like. I put it back and then I went home. As of now, I only have my bio book, but I'll get to that. I told myself I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna organize everything because in life you gotta have a balance, whether it be just for like your school year maybe, but no, you gotta keep it constant. You know what I mean? Like in that quote that I just read, it never stops.
The grind
never stops, So yeah. But, and other than that, I've been fixing my sleep schedule, which is nice, I was tired of going to sleep at 1, waking up at 11. Things like that, There's a lot of little things that you can do. It just makes your life a lot better.
That sleep schedule throws you off. Just like if one thing is off, then everything is off. The sleep schedule.
Oh, no, you're 100% right. My eating was weird. I have lunch at 5 sometimes.
No. Oh, God, that's a mistake.
Yeah, it's bad. But I guess everyone our age kind of goes through that sort of, they go through that phase like a lot of times throughout their lives. Like for me, I absolutely hated waking up at 11:30. That's just me.
Yeah. No, me too. I've just this whole summer, and I'm so happy I've done this. I've been only allowing myself to like wake up at 8:25, an alarm for 8:25 every day except Sunday, which is 8:50. And then I end up falling asleep like around like 12:01, and the cycle continues. And it's so much better than like years past where I go to sleep at 4 a.m. and wake up at 2.
Right.
Because that's the worst. That is the worst feeling of waking up after people have had lunch.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If you're like me, then not only, I cook, right? But it's not so much the part that I have to cook for myself. Like I love cooking, but when I wake up so late, I actually get so lazy. And sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. But, I guess it's all included.
Well, we'll get more into that right now. So, Daniel, I feel of all my friends, you're kind of a very balanced person in the sense that you're maybe like the most fit and the most like caring about like how you treat your body. Your whole lifestyle is a very big part of who you are. So what aspects of your life have you taken control of by doing certain things?
Well, thank you very much for saying that. But let's see. Aspects that I've taken control of, it's honestly like, what haven't I? Because once you start getting to your own little routine and stuff, and you start motivating yourself to, I don't know, just go out and, if you want, run or swim or do whatever. There's some people that like lifting weights, or some people that like, I don't know, running and like swimming or doing other stuff like karate or sumo wrestling. Not gonna lie, I sometimes go to the beach with like some friends and we literally wrestle in the sand, and it's the funniest thing. You just try to push it. You make a big circle and you try to push yourself out. But it's amazing because like when you do that kind of activity, or like when you do that kind of like exercise or something like that, you feel like you're a child again in a sense, but in a good way, because your body kind of like gets that feeling of like, not really adrenaline, but like you just get happy, kind of like a nostalgic feeling, like when you're a little kid. I don't know, you do something with your friends, you're just super happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like I liken it to the feeling of playing pretend when you're little. It's like just you're whoever you want to be and whoever you choose to be. And I feel the way that I think I've seen you more than myself. I feel like there are certain aspects of my life that I'm still trying to get a hold of. It's very difficult because it takes a lot of willpower to do so.
Well, that's life. Very difficult nonetheless.
Yeah, but it's a lot like playing pretend, because you get to be the person you want to be. And I know you're very much into cooking really clean and healthy. So what about cooking like kind of brings you forward and makes you want to do it?
Well, the thing about cooking is that it's something that you do, and then you kind of tell yourself, like, I'm really making something. Most people, like, when I was a kid, I used to love playing Legos, right? So I used to tell myself, like, oh, I'm making this and that, whatever. But maybe you have a different imagination, which is a good thing. But maybe you have a different imagination from most people, and they won't see what you're building. So when you do, let's say, cook or prepare food or whatever you want, you're really making something that even other people are going to be like, wow, hey, that looks good. Or like, that smells really good. And, doing it yourself, you're kind of giving your own body what you're giving it. You know what I mean? Like today, like, I don't know honestly, like what's in chicken nowadays? People constantly talking about like, oh, is this GMO? Is this organic? Is it vegan? All these
Is the honey vegan?
Is the honey vegan? Shout out to some friends of ours. Anyway, that kind of you have to ask that question, to see what you're putting in your body, because this is your body's the thing that's carrying this thing, and I'm pointing to my head right here.
Yeah.
To your brain, it's what carries your brain, so you got to take care of it. And I personally think an amazing way of doing that is cooking yourself. You also super relaxing. Like honestly, like I love waking up in the morning when it's really early. And I like making breakfast that way because there's no noise whatsoever in my house, right? And so all I can hear is the sounds of like water or my pans kind of moving a little bit and stuff like that. It's calming.
Yeah, that's honestly a great feeling, and I relate to that. Now, you have a couple signature dishes amongst our friend group.
Ooh, yeah.
And okay, I want to see the menu that you would build, and I want to hear your quick tips on how to do it and
all right.
stuff.
All right. Actually, I'm really glad you said that, because my most famous one, at least amongst all my friends and our friend group included, and one that I highly recommend for a lot of people out there, is ramen.
Oh,
ramen is fantastic. And why do I think it's so fantastic? Because when it comes to ramen, there's no recipe.
There really isn't.
There really is no recipe. People constantly ask me like, "Oh, what do you put in it?" Or like, "Oh, what's the recipe?" And I'm like, whatever I want.
Exactly.
There's no recipe. There's a base to it, of course, like the soup, the noodles, and whatever protein, I don't know, beef or chicken or even tofu if you're up for that, Like those are really just like the three things that you'll need. And then the rest is totally up to you. You're creating something every time you make ramen, And it's got everything you need. It's got carbs. It's probably got healthy fats in it, depending what else you put in it. It's got protein in it. So it's awesome. Like you can literally like live off of that because it's got just about everything you need.
Yeah. My mom, the moment I told her that, oh, you're coming on the podcast, she's like, I need to know what he uses for broth.
Oh, well, if I hope she's going to listen to this because...
Oh, she's definitely going to listen to this.
Good, because I'll say it now. Broth, I love using a little bit of ginger and miso paste. If you're lucky enough, like a Whole Foods or something like that, they usually have it. Miso paste. You just smudge it onto the bottom of the pan with... Not pan, sorry. The pot with hot water. You just let it boil and then it tastes so good. Like, honestly, all my ramen soups are pretty much miso soups with noodles and everything else.
Wow. Okay, so like you're reinventing a kind of simple thing.
Yeah.
To like make this one big thing. That's why I think ramen is the Legos of food.
It really is. It's
the Legos of food.
That's the first time I hear someone describe it like that. And you know what? You're not wrong at all. That it's completely correct. It is the Legos of food. And, you know, that first break is always going to be the soup, but the rest is totally up to you. Whatever you want to make, and if you want, you can make it look pretty. Like, I like to make it look pretty. You know, add eggs on the side, maybe a little bit of seaweed here and there, you know, this and that, vegetables, this, put the chopsticks on top. Take a nice little, you know, picture for the gram, and then there you go. You know what I mean? It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And that's only one of the foods I like making.
What is something you want to learn how to make? So I have a couple things I want to learn but I'm more into like the whole baking thing.
Right.
More into the whole cooking thing. What's your dream meal?
Oh, that's hard to say. Well, there is something I do want to master, and you know, look, for one specific dish, there's one thing I want to master, and it's actually a type of ramen. It's just that no one has probably ever heard of it, and it's called chankonabe. Now, what makes chankonabe different from like regular ramen is that, and here's the funny thing behind it, it's actually what sumo wrestlers eat, right?
Really?
Yeah, and if you see it, it's this massive, and I mean massive, bowl of soup. It's a fish broth. It's got fish in it, but it also has like these meatballs in them, like these miso meatballs in them that have like, I don't know, made of turkey. Like I made them with turkey and I poached them and they came out amazing. With fish, a bunch of vegetables. And of course the ramen soup itself. But like the thing about it is that there's so much preparing that has to go into it, you know, in order to actually make it. And it's such a huge dish. Like you can feed a whole family with it. That's what I did. When I first made it, and the only time I ever made it, I fed my entire family, including my uncle and aunt and cousin. So I would love to master that because there's just so much to it. And yeah, but if you're trying to say like, I would say category of food that I love to master, it'd definitely be Lebanese food. Lebanese food
really?
is amazing.
Okay, I'm not very clear as to what Lebanese food is, so like
right.
Yeah, like what type of food would that be?
Well, have you ever eaten at a pita pockets?
I've heard of that.
That's an amazing place. Just pita bread, and then they have like all these, like they prepare chicken a certain way, usually with onions and a bunch of other amazing ingredients. All of which I can't name at the moment because, like I said, it's something I want to master.
It's like
barely know about.
It sounds complicated, but I think once you master it, it's like, oh, okay, this all makes sense.
Yeah, exactly, and you know that kind of stuff. Yeah, that. Or look, I'll tell you what. If anyone's ever down to like try it out or try some, you know, Middle Eastern food, honestly, the best place to go would probably be like Pita Pockets or Daily Bread Market, which is like off US 1. I highly recommend. I used to go as a kid and I just loved it so much. As a kid, people used to think I was like totally weird because I ate the weirdest things. Like, not gonna lie, when I was a little kid, like my appetite was weird. I would go around the house eating an onion as if it was an apple with my with my one tooth.
Oh,
with my one
Shrek?
tooth. Yeah. No, but with pretty much. No. With my one tooth, I would go around the house, you know, picking at an onion. And my dad would go to my mom and just be like, "What is wrong with our son?" And then she was like, "I don't know, man." And then I grew up eating like ceviche, and people wouldn't even sit next to me at lunch in elementary school, because ceviche is just like a Peruvian fish platter, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But it smelled so much like fish that people were just not used to that. So they would be eating their chicken nuggets and their hot dogs somewhere else, and I'd just be there eating my ceviche like it was the best thing on earth. Props to my mom. Props to my mom because she makes amazing ceviche. It's amazing ceviche. And also as a kid, like I was so used to eating like sushi all the time. And I believe that at a younger age, most people aren't so prone to eating sushi.
Yeah, no, I didn't start eating sushi till I was like 14.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Something you kind of like grow into it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so I would eat sushi like it was nothing. Like when I was really young, and my mom always made me these Lebanese dishes, right? And that's where I got a lot of my inspiration to cook from her, because she used to cook a lot for me. And then at one point, I was like, hey, how am I gonna survive? I need to know how to cook.
So that was your thought process.
That was my thought process. And I used to cook a lot with her, but like I didn't cook myself. I just kind of helped her, like, oh, here's the salt, or here's this and that, right? What it took for me to start cooking, honestly, was I saw a video on YouTube with Gordon Ramsay in it, and I saw him screaming at people, and then I saw what they were making while they were being screamed at, and it looked good.
That makes.
And then I told myself, there's no better inspiration to cook than Gordon Ramsay screaming at you. And it was from that day forward that I thought to myself, well, you got to be a little bit insane, you know, in life, which is a good thing, of course. But also when you're cooking, you got to be a little insane too, because you know, I cook ramen, and I'm never like, oh, mom, make sure you get the usual ingredients. No, if I'm ever gonna cook a ramen, I'm gonna be like, let me go with you to the market because this is gonna go crazy. You know what I mean?
You're a chaotic good. I hope you know.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's I feel who you are as a person. You're a chaotic good. Another aspect of your life that you've kind of taken control of is you go to the gym a lot and you lift a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to talk about that?
Gladly. You see, when it comes to that kind of activity, I mean, most people will say like, oh, you know, humans maybe shouldn't be doing that. But, you know, I think it's fine. Like, we're like, humans were like, ever since the beginning, we're like, you know, hunters and gatherers and all that stuff. So we like naturally just have a lot of strength, and we can use that strength. You know what I mean? So going to the gym and all that, I like it because, one, I have a fascination with the human body. I think the human body is amazing. It's a machine of its own, and it's a living machine that you know, that lives and it breathes, which I personally think is just something bizarre. You know, it's hard to think of it if like in that kind of aspect, I guess, for some people, but that's how I see it. And you know, going to the gym and all that, like, most people will train, I don't know, whether it's to like fix imbalances or be better at a sport, which I used to do a lot. At first, I used to go to the gym just to, you know, train certain movements to help me with, like, I don't know, track and field or swimming. And then afterwards, you know, maybe some people will do it just to, you know, get bigger, have more muscle, if it be that, you know. Appearance is a big thing nowadays. You know what I mean? But also, what it really does to you is not only the fact that it's something you do, it's a lifestyle. So it kind of helps you out. You get into this whole routine. You get into this whole like, oh, I need to be doing this and that, you know. And it just flows in your life, and it works a lot.
So it's gone beyond appearance, beyond societal like expectations for yourself. It's more like just this is what you do. Like this is your human function and how you live out what you've been given.
Yeah.
As a person.
Exactly. And I also like a huge fan of seeing like, you know, what our genetic limitations and things like that. Because everyone has a genetic limitation, whether it be to how strong they get, how much muscle they build, or how fast they can run, or how long they can run for. So it's amazing to kind of test yourself to see what happens when you do that. You know what I mean? Every human body is different, so it's completely unique.
Do you think you're close to that limit? Like, are you edging on it, or? I
don't know. In my opinion, and I live by this rule, there's always room for improvement, whether it be strength gains or regular gains and all that kind of stuff. Do I think I'm nearing it? Not so much, because I kind of started a little bit young. I still have to be an adult, and I still have to see how that, you know, grows onto my body in a sense. You know, like there's some fantastic people out there that will give you some words of wisdom about like lifting and things like that. But also, like, I have a lot of friends that do, you know, powerlifting and things of that nature. Most people aren't too prone to doing powerlifting because they think it sounds very dangerous. I mean, makes sense if you're trying to deadlift 600 pounds or bench 300 pounds, things like that, you know?
No, I'm a human ragdoll. I cannot imagine doing that.
Well, you know, it's not like it's for everyone.
But it really isn't, but like...
No, but of course there's always going to be something that you can always do. Like for you were saying earlier, like you like walking, right?
Yeah, I love walking.
Yeah, of course.
I love walking so much. And it's like so therapeutic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I agree with that, not only in the sense that it's therapeutic, but also that you get to see the world around you. Some people don't take the time to slow down a little bit and maybe see what's going on outside, you know?
No, I realized that I want to, like, I was walking one day and I saw this really nice porch. I realized I want to grow old and I want to have a porch. I want to have a porch someday.
Nice.
Just like a porch and a rocking chair. Like, I want to be like that type of old. Like, everyone's like, oh, I want to be like in like a condo in New York and like living
Right.
out like my old. I'm like, nah, I want to like, I'm speeding. I'm on this treadmill life right now, so I
Yeah.
can slow down and like when I get older, I'm like, phew, and
Yeah.
sit on my porch and see the sunrise.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That's good.
But I wouldn't have known that had I not gone walking and had I not gone to actually see my surroundings.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, when you do these kind of things, you see a lot more to life than what's right there plain in front of you. Like, there's a lot more behind life than what meets the eye. You know what I mean? Also, it's amazing what, like, that kind of activity does to you, like walking and running and all that. There's a common term out there that's the runner's high, and people are like, oh, like that sounds crazy. You get super excited just by running, but I tell you this much, it exists and it's crazy. I remember once I had to run only 4 miles for a cross country thing.
Only.
But only 4 miles. Only 4 miles.
Oh no.
But here's the thing that was crazy. I didn't feel like that was enough. I felt so happy by running that I continued on and pushed through to a whole 7 miles. I ran 7 miles and I was happy the whole
Crazy.
time. I was happy the whole time. And, you know, maybe it goes to this old saying that my coach used to tell me, you know, that humans were made to be walking 5 miles. I don't know if it was because of that, but I just felt so happy out of it. It does something to your brain. It feels amazing.
And honestly, I wish Miami was a much more walkable city.
Yeah.
I
honestly.
wish. Like, Miami, you need a car to, like, get places.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, like I mean, I don't have a car or anything, but like, so the way I usually get around would be beforehand. We used to be running. Like, I would walk or run to places. Then afterwards, I upgraded to a skateboard.
Oh, wow. An upgrade.
Yeah, and it's funny because I used to take that skateboard out like way early in the morning just so I could enjoy the streets more since there's not too much
And you don't
traffic.
feel like you're going to get run over by someone.
It's great to have that sense of security. And then nowadays it's with a bike. I have my bike and I go just about anywhere.
Oh, yeah. It really seems like you're taking control of your life and living a life of balance.
Yeah, that's really important. And some people fail to see that, honestly. Like, some people fail to see some people might fail to see, like, how to, you know, take a step back and see how it's going. Even I can sometimes do that, you know. I mean, not everyone's perfect, but, you know, it helps to try and see it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so now we're going to get philosophical. We're going to get into the deep area of your mind, into the ether. What are we calling this?
Yeah, let's just call this that time when, you know, you stay up after hours with the moon. You know,
Yeah, usually 3 a.m.
Yeah. It's not that you're trying to break your sleep schedule. You're just kind of still awake and your mind's just full of ideas.
Because your sleep schedule's that messed up.
Exactly.
So,
You know,
what late night thoughts have you had?
what haven't I had? I find myself to be a strange individual. I personally, whenever I have that kind of, you know, those kind of deep thoughts, and I know everyone has this. Everyone stays up at night and starts thinking, and they just keep on thinking. That's a good thing. It's good to exercise.
Yeah, it's good to think.
It's good to think. It's good to exercise that ability because, you know, some people can't think freely. Now, when I do it, I actually write it all down on my phone. I
write it down as well.
Good.
I
That's
write it down
really
on a
good.
notebook, though. Yeah.
Yeah, no, in my opinion, it's really good to do that. The same way people say, like, oh, it's really good to write down your dreams and stuff like that.
Yes.
Because, you know, you're keeping track of yourself and you see yourself change every day. Every day, you're not the same person you were before. You know what I mean? Or every minute that passes, you're not the same person that you are right now.
This moment is affecting the next moment.
Exactly.
And it's affecting the next moment.
Exactly. There's just another, you know, string upon string upon string and a huge, you know, fabric.
Tapestry of your life.
Yeah.
It just kind of like each moment just kind of lays out next to each other.
Exactly. In a fantastic way. In a most amazing way. You know, when it comes to me, like what I've written down and stuff, I go all over the place. You know, I've had nights where I literally, in my own words, defined what a circle is. And
What is the definition, please?
what is the definition of a circle? And my conclusion was that a circle was more representative of than just a shape. It can be translated, or at least that's how I said it, translated into like, you know, the shape of a ring, right? And then I was talking about how a ring, you know, kind of equates back to a circle, but the circle also equates back to the circle of life, and how it's never ending. You know, a circle is kind of like, if anything, you want to call it a line, and it just keeps on going. Maybe you can say it overlaps itself, which can be true, but nonetheless, it keeps on going. The circle just keeps on going in this one motion, and that's just how everything else around it plays, you know?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, my brain hurts.
Oof, no. It got even deeper. I was writing about how marriage rings are rings and not, you know, like why isn't it a necklace? Like why isn't it a necklace or something? Because a ring, it's this never-ending loop. It keeps on going. Like you might say, oh, I'm overlapping it. Yeah, but look at it. It keeps going. There's kind of no end to it if you kind of think about it.
You know, when you have the late night thoughts at night and then you write it down, then you look back at it in the morning. Right now, I would look at that and say, like, but a ring is just functional.
Exactly.
Like, having a ring is, like, the most functional piece of,
yes,
like, showable jewelry that you're married to someone or that you're, like, a senior graduating or whatever a ring is supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really expect people to wear, like, I don't know, like a necklace or, like, or a hat that says, hey, look, I'm married. Stay away. Be gone. But yeah. You know, that kind of thing, which is also true. But then and then you kind of look back at yourself and like, wow, I was thinking so much. Like these are some like Jaden Smith type moments. I'm 17 and this is deep. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. You got
hashtag deep.
Hashtag deep. Just straight up. You know, you have these moments, but it's good. It's good to exercise that because you think a lot and you start saying things that you wouldn't normally say. And you start kind of pinning down what kind of person you are. You know what I mean? Like, sure, maybe people can characterize other people by their routine and things like that, how we were talking earlier. But also, it's important to try to recognize yourself. Because for some people, it's really hard to do that. Like, some people don't really know who they are. I'm still not.
No one knows. No. It would be ridiculous to say that people know who they are.
Exactly.
I think, like, our little friend group, and you probably know more about me than I know about me. Yeah,
it's amazing. Other people's perspectives, it opens you up so much. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you learn about it. Like, you're just like, oh, wow. So I am that kind of person. Or like, wow, I did that. That kind of says something about me.
How much do you say that opinions of yourself affect you? So, like, other people's opinions, like late at night when you have those late night thoughts and when they get really like personal about yourself, how much does that affect you in your like thinking about your own self-image?
Of my own self-image, to be honest, when it comes to those kind of thoughts, I don't think so much about my self-image as much as I think about my self-consciousness in a sense, because those are my thoughts, and I kind of see myself like, wow, I'm kind of growing mentally. You know what I mean? Which is some deep stuff, but still, you know, like I'm growing mentally. But either way, that's going to get out into the world somehow. You know, the way I think gets out into the world. The way, you know, you got to think before you talk. You know what I mean? So it's going to get out into the world either way. And I think it helps to exercise that ability because you become more, how do you say, out there, I guess, when it comes when you're able to do that, when you're able to cope with that. And when you're saying how it comes to other people's opinions and how it affects how I think of myself. You can never keep, in my opinion, like an eye on yourself. You know what I mean? You're always going to slip away because it's your own self. You know, it's kind of hard to see yourself or try to stop yourself do things.
I feel like just becoming really self-aware is both a good thing and a bad thing. Yeah. Which I've slowly become, I believe, over the past 3 months. I've just been crazy self-aware of like little things that I do and like things that I know I need to fix and things that I'm like, that's okay. Like I'm good at, but. I think just self-awareness is the key to that.
No, you're right. And it's good because, like, on one hand, you can be, you know, helping yourself On the other hand, you could be like stopping yourself from doing things, And that's why sometimes the opinion of other people could be helpful, as long as those people have a valid opinion. You shouldn't, as they say, you shouldn't care about anyone else's opinion except the ones that really know you or the ones that care about you.
But does that really happen? Let's be honest. Does that really happen? Like, sometimes, like, other people's opinions get to you. And I'm okay with criticism, like, on, like, things that I make.
Yeah.
But when it gets personal, I'm like, oh, no. Like, that's like...
No, of course. That's, that's a natural way of reacting. That's a natural way of reacting.
Yeah.
But you got to be at a point where you can tell yourself, like, despite what these people are saying or how I'm feeling and this and that I at least have a backbone and I at least know, my core sort of thoughts or emotions or the way I act. You know what I mean? So if somebody says something about you that isn't true, and your friends like come up to you and ask you about it, they're probably doing that because they also know it's not true.
And like they care and they're like, nah.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you think social media has affected these late night thoughts? I feel like social media is
very much you're very much correct, and it does have a huge toll because some people feel the need to just put out, I don't know, some deep quote about themselves out there.
And it's not very deep.
And it's
ever.
not very deep.
Deep.
If anything, it's more personal than not.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes a problem because you're exposing yourself out there to the world like a little too much. And then, how are you going to be able to control yourself if you're almost kind of exposing yourself to a world where, you're supposed to kind of keep your private life private?
Like when someone's been like going through something when like on their Instagram, they're like, they post some like quote about like, I don't need anybody else. Like it's like, I'm good with me. I'm like, no, you're going through something. You don't just need you. Yeah. You need a lot of people in your life.
Yeah.
And we can all tell.
That's so true. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. You're pre-exposing yourself and people are going to know that about you. So the fact that you pre-expose yourself so much, you're going to start being insecure about even your own self. If anything, you're feeding that insecurity.
You're really active on Snapchat. Like
I am, and to the point where I'm the school's paper boy.
You are. You let us in on all the announcements. I've actually decreased my own use on Instagram and migrated more like Snapchat because I feel like Instagram's toxic in a way that Snapchat isn't. Whereas Snapchat, I feel like, is just for goofing off and just having
definitely,
fun.
Especially when you have that confidence that in 24 hours or whenever I want, it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
It's going to be gone. And on Instagram, however, it's going to stay there. A lot of people are going to see it. Even people that you might not even know. People accept people, like other people on their Instagram they never even met.
I feel like I use Snapchat more because I feel Instagram just has this toxic nature in which a lot of people will just like, not even like complain, but just like indirect people about just random stuff, and it just stays there forever.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's a written record of them indirecting someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Forever.
Yeah, and a lot of the things that like comments, for example, are public. You can even like reply to someone comment that has nothing to do with you. Unlike in Snapchat, where it's just reply to you. That's it. It's not like a comment that's out there for everyone else to see, and things like that. You know what I mean? So
back more onto late night thoughts.
Yeah.
I not just finished, like a couple weeks ago, I finished this game called Beyond Two Souls.
Right.
And it was very good, and it was basically about this girl named Jodie who has like this like spirit attached to her. That,
I'm
like,
familiar with the game.
It's really such a good game.
It is.
But that game, it affected me like deep. That was like a deep game that like you see this person growing up, but like in a very every single chapter is a different order of her life. So,
of
like,
course.
It's not in chronological order. So you get to know this character over, like, these jumbled events to her life, and everything affects something else.
Right.
And by the end of the game, I cried. I cried at the end of the game, and just, like, at night, like, that night, I did not go to sleep. I was just thinking about that game.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
It's amazing. And honestly, like, I see video games as a form of art.
It is. It totally.
Definitely is. And not only in the sense of how it looks, but how it's made or how it's seen. Because like, as you're saying with Beyond Two Souls, that gets you thinking a lot. You know what I mean? If anything, it's thought fuel for you. And all these like emotions from this game, which something emotional. Maybe some people for a lot of the times can relate to this. Maybe some people feel like my personality changes a lot, like, beyond myself.
Media is thought fuel.
It really is. It
Yeah.
really is.
Even something as not really, I wouldn't say low level, excuse me, but did you watch this show called Ubi as a kid? Like when you're little, it was like these like
That sounds familiar.
it's like these like hands. It was like these puppets and like their hands and they had little eyes on them.
Oh, that sounds so familiar. I have a feeling I just can't.
I thought this was a fever dream up until like a month ago.
Right?
Then it was 3 a.m. I'm watching Ubi and I'm rethinking my life. Because it is okay, like the characters, they don't say anything more than 2 words, but it's some like
Yeah.
it was so thought provoking for whatever reason, and just kind of like
Right.
I have these characters on my hands. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
So
No, it's amazing what happens. Like you don't think you like how the thought process just kind of starts like this. You know,
yeah, no, it just kind of happened.
it just kind of happens with whatever. And for some reason, it always feels like it's late at night. For some reason, it always feels
It
like
has to be late at night
Yeah.
because it's dark. You're alone with your thoughts.
Yeah.
No one else is around to like interrupt you.
Nope.
It just kind of stays there, and then like time moves in a really weird way at night.
It really does. Yeah.
Like one moment it's like 11, the next it's like 3 a.m. and you're like, how did this happen? Whereas like
The Twilight Zone.
exactly like from
It's
like
great.
1 p.m. to 4 p.m. in a regular day feels like forever.
Yeah.
12 to 3 a.m. feels like no time.
Yeah, exactly. Or you just completely lose track of it. You're just like, wow, I'm still here. I'm still thinking to myself. You know, that kind of thing. And it's honestly like amazing. But, you know, from all that time, despite the fact that you can't really keep control of it, you just sort of unlock so much about yourself that you yourself probably didn't even know about until that moment when you feel like you can release it all.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break right now, but right after that, we'll be back. Hey guys, it's your humble host, as always, Katy, here to give you some housekeeping for this episode. First off, I'd like to thank you all for listening. It really is nice that there's people out there that listen to something they care about and something that I care about as well. You can find the podcast on YouTube, where you can subscribe to the podcast. You can click that notification bell to be told when new episodes come out, and you can like the podcast. As well as that, you can go on iTunes, you could subscribe to the podcast, which also notifies you as to when the podcast comes out, and you can leave a rating, which really helps us out and gives me a little moral support boost every single morning. You can also find us on Twitter at young_terrified. As well as that, you can find us on Instagram at youngandterrified. You can find me on Snapchat at Katy Some, that is Katy Some. And starting this episode, this is the last week you can get pins for free. After that, I might put them on Etsy or something. I don't want to make them too high. I honestly, I don't want you guys paying for something that I just want to serve the people for, but so just to cover cost of shipping. But for right now, they're still free for the next week. That link will be in the description. And last but not least, thanks to Daniel for coming on. His social media links are in the description, as well as all those links that I just mentioned. So right now, let's get back to the show. And we are back. Thanks to me in the future for recording that. But for right now, Daniel.
Yes, ma'am. I
have a question for you, and that is, you have just received a form of time travel, whether it be through Stephen Hawking's train approach that goes around the Earth real fast,
Right.
or just an actual time travel device from
McLaren.
fiction. any time travel device from fiction. Now, instead of seeing how people have advanced technology or things have changed through infrastructure, all that stuff, what memes are there 20 years from now in the future? What are the memes of the future?
That is a most amazing question with an answer that's not as amazing, or probably even more. I don't know.
That's how you look at it.
As someone who likes to call himself a internet historian, not the internet historian.
No, the internet historian is amazing. I love him.
It's a whole nother level, and people should definitely be informed by his wisdom. But as someone who likes to be seen as that, I'd say it's all unpredictable because let's be real, it all started with a bunch of cartoons, right? Like Troll Face and the Angry Face and all that. It started with those kinds of things. And then we've evolved to something amazing. We've evolved to a song, to a Spanish song being rewritten 47 times. Despacito.
Despacito 2, where you at?
Despacito 2, where you at? And a dancing alien. A dancing
I hate
alien.
that one.
Me too.
Right now, I think we've de-evolved because I feel
Me too.
the whole slaps roof of car.
This thing could blank and blank. Like,
This-
you're
this
completely
thing
right.
Can fit so much blank.
Exactly. No, you're completely right. If anything, we're having a lot less quality in our memes, but they're being nonetheless ridiculous. And, that's the beauty of it. It's supposed to be ridiculous.
So does it get more ridiculous?
I think it will. But that's all dependent on, if you see nowadays, like the original Troll Face meme and all that, they were original, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays memes are just kind of like based on things that are going on. So like, I don't know, eating beans while watching Cars 2, for example. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it, but that's a thing. What else? Let's see. That happened. The whole Ugandan Knuckles thing.
That was a very strange time.
I was here for it though.
We were all here for it.
I was kicking my way everywhere. Like, it was amazing. Not only the fact that someone came up with this, but the fact that, and do you know the story behind the meme?
Yeah, it was a VR chat thing.
Yeah, it's a VR chat. But not only that, do you know how it happened on VR chat?
How did it happen? I don't know.
You see how it happened, the whole Uganda Knuckles thing. And this is what makes the whole question of how memes are going to be in the future, like, even, like, have a strange answer. This guy was just playing VR chat, and he had the Knuckles skin, right? That because somebody drew that, and it wasn't meant to be the way meme. It was just drawn.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy had the skin on, and then he made friends with this other guy who put on the same skin, and he asked him, "Do you know the way?" And then they kind of played along with it with each other. He's like, "All right, dude." Like, and then they were talking about how like they should start a thing, and he was, all the while using this Ugandan accent.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, "All right, dude, I'll be back like in a few." And then he comes back the next day, and what happened with about 3 people turned into about 45 in a night.
Yeah.
And then that just kept on growing and became a meme.
Yeah,
like,
they had to find the queen.
Exactly. They were finding their queen. They would spit on anyone who would be in the way. They'd cluck furiously, and they would just go out there for control. And there was never just one Knuckles. There was always thousands of them. And there wasn't just one specific type. There were Sonics there, too. There were Russian Knuckles in there. There were Mexican Knuckles in there. I once saw a Samurai Knuckles.
Yeah. No, it's like January. I think January was a very fun time for memes, but...
Indeed it was.
I think now people meme on January memes.
In a sense. Now the memes for this month are kind of weird. I always follow the meme calendar. I do too. Love the meme calendar.
Yes, I do too.
Yes.
I do too.
I love the meme calendar. And it's so hard to decide what's going to be in the future. For sure in the future it's going to be based on the things that are happening now, of course. Video games, whatever video games are going to come out, there are going to be a lot of memes out of that. The next Cars that comes out, there's going to be a meme on that.
In 20 years, it's going to be like Cars 40.
Yeah. or like, a new Donald Glover song. Or, maybe like they'll be like, oh,
this is Europe.
Yeah, exactly. This is Europe. And
by Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. No, that could legit be how, that's how it could be, legit. And, also with these music videos, you never know. There's going to be another foreign to the people who make the memes. Foreign music video.
Part 2?
Yeah. I love that song. I have it on SoundCloud. Ready to play. And if I could make it my ringtone, I would make it my ringtone.
Alexa, play Tanuk Tanuk.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, my most favorite one recently is like, "This is so sad. Alexa, play Despacito."
Yeah, that's my favorite. I think
Yeah.
between that and the car roof one,
Yes.
Those are my two favorites right now.
Yeah.
I'm mostly investing in those, but I see a strong decline in the slaps karn roof because
Yeah, of course. Yeah, some people overuse it or like don't use it correctly.
yeah.
Yeah. It's always good for everyone out there to keep in touch with the meme economy. It's constantly changing.
Yeah, update your portfolio.
Exactly. And I feel like in the future they're going to get a lot stranger too. Like, about the alphabet meme?
Which one?
The one, specifically the one with the E.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that
E.
that came out of nowhere.
Oh, that was out of nowhere.
That was,
and then happened.
Next thing I know, there was a whole alphabet dedicated to it.
There's an alphabet?
There's an entire alphabet with different people on it.
Didn't know.
The E just happens to have Markiplier with Lord Farquaad's head.
I thought it was Lord Farquaad for so long. I did not see an inkling of Markiplier.
I know. It took when I first saw it, I was like, wait, that's Markiplier. What is going on? You know. But that's the beauty of memes. You're not really supposed to know what's going on.
So yeah, they're gonna get weirder.
Yes.
You're gonna get more incoherent. I have a feeling there might be a language. I feel like there already is kind of like a meme
language,
dialect. Yeah. I think there's gonna be a full-on language.
Yeah, like the whole kind of has cheeseburgers type thing with the cats was like the first sign of it. But now it's gonna get even more complicated in the future, and I honestly agree with you.
I think saying Alexa before a song, Alexa before anything. That's part of the meme dialect.
Oof, yeah, no. And with every passing year, there's more. Well, no, with every passing month, as we were talking about the calendar, there's more and more meme fuel for the most random things. And you never know. One slip up or something, and you even yourself could end up as like the next meme. You know what I mean? Like if you try to get out there, you could definitely be like the next meme, which is fantastic.
Daniel, it's been great having you on. I really enjoyed this episode a lot.
I love this, and I hope that everyone out there gets to enjoy this podcast.
Is there anything you want to plug, like any social media or anything?
Sure. If you guys are up for memes and things like that of that nature, you can always follow my Snapchat at Daniel_A Perez, all in lowercase. And if you want to see me deadlift 300 pounds in a Pikachu onesie, then go ahead and follow my Instagram at Daniel_A_Perez with 2 Z's.
And that and all the other links can be found in the description. But right now, I'm going to ask you to talk us out. Where do you see yourself in 10, 20 years in the future?
In 10, 20 years to the future. Well, either my college thing will have gone well and I'd be working with prosthetic limbs and making them and making, robotic prosthetics and things of that nature, which I'm gladly interested in. Or I'll be going to plan B, which is working with my dad and his movie business things, and I'll take over that so that he doesn't have to worry about it.
So about the prosthetic limbs, like what would that entail? Like,
that would probably entail me working like that would be me working in a workshop after having studied it because like I said earlier, I love the human body. Right? Yeah. I love it. So why not try to recreate it in a sense, or try to recreate it, or try to help people who don't necessarily have the full access to it. Prosthetic limbs I feel like are amazing in their own unique way. There's some that don't even require like robotic or electrical, wiring or anything. There's some that are just simple physics, like someone who didn't have their fingers, they only had like a small bit of what's left of their finger, right? Because it was cut off by something. They put on these prosthetic limbs and this prosthetic like fingers on them, and all he had to do was close his hand, and the rest of the fingers would close along with it, so he can clutch onto things.
Oh, that's so cool.
Things like that are just awesome, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can totally see you do that because you have a fascination with the human condition that I've never seen before, and it's really like admirable.
It's I love it, and this is coming from a kid who used to play with Bionicles all the time.
Of course, you play with Bionicles.
Yeah. Once you start with Legos, you got to go through the whole spectrum.
It is a spectrum.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Anyways, thanks for coming on. Thanks for all of you listening out there, and as always, Have a really nice day. Goodbye. We done.